Are you new to homeschooling or are you considering it? Stick around for some thoughts on that. Hi, I'm Rebecca with the Parent Teacher Bridge, where you can find the ideas and resources you need to empower you to become your child's most influential teacher. And today I'm talking about 5 mistakes that new homeschoolers make. Before we dig in, please click like and subscribe. And along the way, make sure you drop a comment or a question below. Number 1, the first mistake that I see new homeschoolers make is they seek an all online schooling approach. And I believe a lot of people do this out of fear or possibly convenience. We know that people start homeschooling their children at different ages. Sometimes it's elementary, sometimes it's older kids. And so they may be a little bit overwhelmed on teaching various subjects, or especially at a particular grade level. So they may seek that online schooling approach because everything is taken care of for them. But there's a couple of things that I want you to consider regarding that. Number 1, you're still not really choosing the curriculum. And if you are choosing it in an a la carte way for online schooling, that still is equally overwhelming to you. Number 2, it can get costly. And number 3, it greatly increases the chances that your child is going to have too much screen time. And I believe that all online schooling can really create that sense of checklist. So rather than doing something to actually learn, let's just get it done. Let's just get it done. Let's just get it done. So I don't think the kids are learning nearly as much in those scenarios. Instead, I usually recommend to parents that if they're going to do any sort of online schooling, save it for those upper grades. For example, I have one high schooler and we are using online schooling for math only. So I know he's not needing to be online for every subject, and he still has to read, paper books. He doesn't have to be on the screen so much. And another pitfall that a lot of parents make regarding online schooling is they will trust that their child is doing what they need to be doing, and they're truly hands off. They find out several months later that their child really wasn't doing the assignments and they are failing and falling behind. So be aware of that approach. Instead, as you and your child make adjustments to being at home together and homeschooling, I recommend starting with one subject area, maybe something that your child likes, or maybe something that you need a lot of dedicated time for. Get that under your belt for a few weeks before you add anything new in. Save the online for something like a complicated math in high school, or possibly a class, maybe a science type class that you don't feel comfortable teaching. But most homeschool materials, even the paper and book homeschool materials, are written for parents just like you who may feel a little bit nervous or overwhelmed. So I find that there are many user-friendly choices where you don't have to resort to all online schooling. Number 2, the second mistake that I see new homeschoolers make is they try to mimic a school day in their scheduling and in their subject areas. So it's no wonder that their child is frustrated. Yes, we all battle that attitude that a child can have when they're still at home, or maybe they're still in their PJs, they're in their comfort zone, and they are not wanting to do schoolwork for you. So part of that is a normal thing that a homeschool family has to overcome. But if it's a new homeschool parent that's complaining about their child's attitude, I always have to take a step back and ask the parents a few questions on how they're doing things at home, because it does not take nearly as much time to homeschool 1 to 3 kids at home, or even 8 kids at home, as what it would to run a classroom in a traditional school setting, be that private school or public school. And so there's a lot of learning time lost throughout an 8-hour school day that you don't necessarily have to deal with when you are homeschooling your child. Think of it this way. Do you remember college classes and how they were scheduled? You might have a Monday, Wednesday class, or a Tuesday, Thursday class, and you don't have every subject every day of the week. Homeschoolers have that freedom where they can do that. So if there's something that their child needs a little bit more practice in, they might choose to do it every day. But if it's something else, maybe they skip a few days and they can adjust as they see fit. And that's the wonderful thing about the flexibility of homeschooling. If you're trying to recreate a school day at home, and I know this is said in a zillion videos, but it will lead to nothing but frustration. The number 3 mistake that I see new homeschool parents make is that they don't know how to prioritize subjects or even pivot and change things as they are making observations about their child. So let's think about those different subject areas. Maybe you took your child out because they were struggling in reading or math and you feel like they need a little bit more time with that. Then you can prioritize those subject areas. Maybe teach those in the morning when your children are a little bit more awake and refreshed. And then you can do something a little bit more laid back and fun later on after they've had the bulk of their work earlier in the day. You can also prioritize some of these subject areas by spending more money on a particular curriculum if you feel like it is a good investment. Not every subject area is of equal importance. For example, when I'm working with kids on tutoring, as much as I love handwriting and as much as I love spelling, it is more important to me that a child learns how to read confidently and fluently and they understand what they are reading. So it's okay to prioritize and recognize some things are of utmost importance. And reading is just one of those things. If your child is not reading very well, then it's going to be hard to even do some math problems, some word problems. It's going to be harder for them to use a science book or even a history book because they're struggling in reading still. So you can give a lot more time to something like that and not worry so much about history or science in those lower grades. Those subjects can be addressed, but they can be addressed through literature. So, for example, if you want to go to the library and check out a bunch of books on ocean life, or if you want to check out a bunch of books on plant life, you can do that and read those for a while, draw pictures with them, or have your child journal with them. And at those lower elementary grades, your child is going to learn just as much as if you had gotten some other sort of curriculum to work through that was specifically for science or social studies. The main idea is that they are getting exposed to concepts in those subject areas and that they are building their vocabulary in those subject areas. Think of where you want your child to be by 9th grade when you start counting these credits in high school. And if your child is deficient in a particular foundational skill like math or reading or writing, you're going to want to take time to go back to where they left off, where they need the most help, and get that covered before they get to 9th grade. The 4th mistake that I see new homeschoolers make is they don't connect to the community. Now, I know a lot of homeschoolers that are new and they're ready to get out and meet people. That's great. I think that's what you need to do. But there are some that tend to just keep themselves shut off and they're not interacting with other people. And I think that it's a good thing to interact with the other homeschoolers, both for you and for your children, because you're going to have certain struggles that your friends who have children in public school or private school, they're not having, because it's just a different dynamic. Your kids are home with their siblings. Your kids are doing work maybe from the couch. Maybe they are doing work on the road if you're running errands. There's all kinds of different scenarios that just are not the same as if they were in school. And it's good for them to know that there are other kids going through the same struggles and the same successes, and that they can have friends that they go on field trips with. You can have mom friends where you can get some ideas and compare what you're doing and get some fresh ideas along the way. So reach out to your local area. Most libraries are going to know something about the homeschool community in your area. And social media is another good way. If you research your town, your county, or even nearby cities for homeschooling groups, you can connect that way. The 5th mistake that I see new homeschoolers make is they buy too much curriculum or spend way too much money on curriculum. If you are homeschooling a younger age child, you do not need to go out and spend hundreds on curriculum. I know a lot of people think that because we have suddenly all these curriculum companies, they're all businesses and they're all wanting to sell their product, and their product may be just fine. It may be wonderful product. But if you're going to spend a lot of money on any particular curriculum, do it for something that makes your life easier or gives you the confidence to teach something that maybe you're lacking, or to teach something that your child is really, really struggling in. A lot of those times, if you invest in that more expensive curriculum, you can turn around and resell that. So, for example, if your child has dyslexia, you may want to buy a reading curriculum. If your child has problems in math, you may want to buy a specific math curriculum. But there are many different curriculum choices out there. So make sure you get on some of these websites like christianbook.com or rainbowresource.com, and they're going to have reviews for you. I also look on YouTube for some of these reviews, but just know that if you're going to spend a lot of money on curriculum, try not to do it unless it's a particular subject area that your child really, really, really needs help with. You can buy used materials, and that saves money as well. Now, everybody knows that high school is a different story. You will have to spend and be expected to spend a little bit more when it comes to high school classes, whether you are sending your child to a certain tutorial or a certain teacher who is holding a class in their home or at a church. Expect to have that money to spend. So don't rush out and do it right away with your little ones. It's just not necessary. There's so many social time opportunities that they can get at a park or at a library or even in a play group. All right, what did I leave out? If there is something that you see new homeschoolers do that you feel is a mistake, or even if you have a tip that would help avoid one of these mistakes, drop it in the comment section below. And don't forget to click like and subscribe along the way. You may also be interested in checking out my website, theparentteacherbridge.com, where you can find some other resources that will hopefully make your homeschool journey a little bit more easy and welcoming and positive of an experience. Remember, parents, you are your child's most influential teacher.